Okay, that brings us to A River of Salt.
All right, A River of Salt. Again, I had poetry notebooks. Okay, and A River of Salt is actually a small piece of a very, very large epic work that I worked out from when I was in high school, well into in college. It told a long, long story. Okay, and how I had it done was I had it in, like, I believe it was done in 5 acts or 5 parts, and each part had a breakdown of A through Z of sub breakdowns, and it told a complete story going through. Now I had it all kind of in my mind as a concept record. All right, okay. So I wrote it kind of poetically or lyrically, the entire piece. It was called In the Woods, and basically, to make a long story short, because of the length of it, it basically dealt with the lead character went to a picnic, a camp out. There was dioxin dumped in the woods. He slept there. It poisons him, and he goes on into these wild fantasies of his poisoned brain, where he eventually envisions himself taking over the world and destroying the world. The part of A River of Salt, if I'm not mistaken, is he kills his girlfriend, or at least believes that he kills his girlfriend. Can't remember the details, going back so long ago. But actually has a sex change and tries to transform himself into her. He is arrested for some reason or other, maybe for the murder or maybe for something else, and he's put into a female prison, and he's trying to adapt to being a female in a company of females. So the setting of the song, I mean, it's neither here nor there to anyone listening to this, just in, reading through the lyrics, Dan. I mean, it's not something really comprehensible outside of the rest of the story. But he finds himself in prison, and one of the aspects he's trying to deal with, now this is coming from a male imagination here too, one of the aspects that he's trying to deal with is sitting on the toilet instead of standing.
Right.
And now, in my imagination, I know this is complete hocus pocus, but in my imagination at the time of writing the song, I envisioned, because a female has a clitoris that, like, when she pees, it would tickle. And, because the stream might, kind of, get against, and it's just a bunch of nonsense, but it is a definite abstract story, and the story itself was filled with tons of abstractions, which goes to show you where my mind was at that time of life. But it's more, there parts of it were serious, parts of it were very tongue-in-cheek. A River of Salt being very tongue-in-cheek, so the character ends up going pee in the female prison. It's tickling, and she's laughing really loud, but under the recognition of the horror of her circumstances, she begins to cry, or she begins to cry, and forms this river of salt, being tears from the predicament that the character is in, recognizing that this is just surface value laughter, and that the situation is far more grave than the apparent, small humor of taking a tickling pee. So
do you still have any, any notes or notebooks or anything with the rest of the narrative? Or the
I have the whole work, yeah. I have the whole work. I mean, it might have been to my benefit to review that before this, but it's been so long that I mean, it might be worth picking up again just to see where where I was at the time with it.
I mean, I gotta say, at least from my perspective, that definitely puts, like, far more perspective on the lyrics than I had.
Yeah,
prior.
and again, Dan, no one would know this without, you know. And that's maybe why we have to bring this to light.
No, actually, though, that pretty much clarifies like every line in the song there. It seemed more of like a vague, an abstract vagary sort of, or like a tale or something. But
But it's a very small piece of a very, very large story.
a much broader plot overall.
And again, I was trying, you know, what happened would be is I had notebooks in front of me, and obviously part of In the Woods was in that notebook, and Omen would play the song. I mean, he would just pick up his guitar and start playing the song. And in this one, what's interesting about this, Dan, is when you listen to it, I had an old, junky, like kind of almost pseudo toy acoustic guitar in the house at that time. I mean, this thing was, you know, really, you know, a Kmart special or something, you know, and Omen grabbed the acoustic guitar, you know, which just goes to show you, you know, the amount of humor that was really involved with a seance recording. He just picked up this guitar, and it's completely out of tune. He didn't bother to tune it. He just picked it up as if you could tune it. I bet even if you tried 100 years, you couldn't have got this piece of junk in tune. And so, but he didn't even bother. He just picked it up, started strumming, and it was frantically me just having to page through really quick because we wanted to get this stuff done, and it was very lighthearted in nature. So I would just page it. Okay, we'll try this one, and I think River of Salt just was a very fast choice. However, if I may be so bold, I really believe it is my favorite track on this demo. I really think the atmosphere of it and the way it sounds with that out-of-tune guitar and kind of the sad vocals going on, and it is this acoustic piece, which was kind of strange for a seance song, and really just fits right in the middle of the demo as this kind of like this rough diamond, as opposed to, you know, the kind of almost hurried stuff that is on before it and after it, you know?
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Now, while you were paging through the, like the poem book, or the notebook or whatever, did it catch your eye, or did you just kind of like strike a page at random?
I think a lot of what we did then was pretty random. Like I said, Transformer being it's the order of the songs on the demo are not the order they were recorded in. Okay?
Okay.
So I believe we did this I believe this was done in 5 sessions, the demo. I believe the very first 2 songs were How It Happened. Then we recorded River of Salt and Razor's Edge in 1 session. And then we recorded Transformer, and I believe the birthday song, and Satan's Cock was last. So I put it in the order of the demo just for flow purposes, so that the demo would flow better.
Okay.
Keeping a River of Salt, due to the nature of it sounding different than anything else on the demo, kind of put that flat in the middle so that you have kind of this fast start, kind of slows things down and then picks up again. It was mainly done for a flow thing. But yeah, Dan, a lot of things were random in those days. It was just randomly me just saying, okay, let's try this poem with this, and we tried to retrofit the lyrics into the improvised music.
Okay.